Last week, a friend shared that in 2021, she bought a piece of land in Kilifi worth 750,000 Kenyan shillings. Just like most of us, she has always dreamt of owning a piece of land by the beach. I included. I would like to own a piece of land in Kilifi. And how did she find out about this piece of land? She saw an advert on TV and she decided to start paying immediately because one of the contents of the advert was that if she doesn't start paying immediately, this was prime piece of land she was going to lose out. So that's exactly what she did. She took her phone, paid the first deposit of 40,000 shillings, and she continued paying for that piece of land for the whole of 2021. When she finished paying, she contacted this company to ask them, so where is my title deed? Because you all know that when you finish paying a piece of land, you need a document to prove that that piece of land belongs to you. So the first time she contacted them, she was told that she needs to be patient, that it takes about 6 months in order for her to get the title deed. So she started being patient. But unfortunately, weeks turned into months turned into a whole year, and up to date, she's yet to get her title deed. That is a very common story. I have had so many stories of people who've had such issues where they finish paying for a piece of land, they never got their title, or they finished paying for a piece of land, went to look for the piece of land, and they discovered it does not exist. And that is why I found it very, very important to have this conversation with me. And I have a very important person on set today because this lady is a conveyancing lawyer, and a conveyancing lawyer is otherwise known as a real estate lawyer. And so we're going to welcome her to introduce herself, and then later she's going to tell us what did my friend do wrong, what would she have done better to avoid losing a whole 750,000 shillings. Welcome, Monica.
Thank you, Agatha. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
Okay.
My name is Wamuyu. I am a lawyer by profession. With my specialization is in real estate, or otherwise known as conveyancing law. So basically, what I do has something to do with buying, selling of properties, leasing, and that kind of thing. So I'm very excited to have this discussion with you. And because what you've said, your friend is just one of the many people who've lost their money, but not all of them, of course, get documented. But you'll see every now and then we have a column in the papers,
yes,
just saying how many people have lost their money while trying to buy land.
Yes.
So I think this is a very timely discussion, and I'm very excited to be here and talk about it.
Yay! And my name is Agatha from the Wealth Tribe, and this is where we learn how to build wealth together. If you're new here, welcome to the Wealth Tribe. And so, let's get started. Now, Monica, the first time we met, we were talking about land, yes, because that has always been an important conversation.
Yes.
And we got to talk about how people get conned and the land scams that are in this country. And you mentioned two very important underlying issues when it comes to this conversation. And the two of them were the land craze and the regulation part of the companies that sell these pieces of land. How about you take us through why those two underlying issues are important?
Okay. So I think what I would say about the land craze, there's some feeling in the air that Kenya inaisha,
yes,
so to speak,
yeah,
or rather that's the story that the people who benefit from these land scams are selling to people.
Mm-hmm.
That Kenya inaisha, if you don't get your piece of land today,
yes,
tomorrow there might be nothing for you.
Yeah.
And in as much as there might be an aspect of truth to that,
mm-hmm,
it's not really true. It's
yes,
not really true because first of all, Kenya haishi kesho.
Yes.
In any case, I like to equate land to a bus. You know, when you're at the bus stop waiting for the bus,
yes,
and the bus that comes is full,
yes,
if you let it go, there's definitely another bus behind it.
There will always
so
be
that
another
is the
one.
same thing with land.
Yes.
You'll miss a deal that you think it's so good and you cannot afford to miss it today.
Yes.
But another even better deal comes along. So I think the craze should not make people rush or make very rash decisions when it comes to buying land, because I think that's where the problem comes in. You rush into it, you end up losing your money.
Yes.
So yeah, and so that's what I would say about the land craze.
And when it comes to the land craze, for me, the thing that I have observed is that now when we see these advertisements, whether it's on radio or whether it's on TV or even in the newspapers, the companies who are selling these pieces of land are not even selling us the return on investment and how these pieces of land will fall into our investment portfolio. Because I tell people that you just don't wake up every day and buy a piece of land in X location, right? The first thing you should do is establish who am I, what are my financial goals, and how does a piece of land fit into my financial goals.
That is
So
true.
because now these companies know that there is a rush, they are selling to us emotions.
That is true.
They're not selling us return on investment, they're not selling us value, they're not selling us how this aligns to our financial goals. And that's why it's very important to understand why it's wrong for this land place to be the thing that informs our financial decisions. Now, what about the regulation bit? What is wrong and what's going on?
I would say basically most professions or most businesses or trades are regulated.
Yes.
Now, when it comes to land selling in Kenya, we have some bit of I would say a lacuna or a vacuum in the sense that a lot of when it comes to selling land, there's not the government has not put in place proper regulations to make sure that if probably I'm selling land, the government knows I'm selling land. The government has my registration document somewhere, and the government knows what piece of lands I'm selling. The government is sure that whatever I'm selling belongs to me. There isn't that well put in. The regulation is not very well put in place.
Okay.
And that means every now and then, when there's a scam involving land, it doesn't go away.
Okay.
So we will have a scam today. The papers will say, oh, this and this company has conned people this number of billions, and then a couple of months down the line there's another one. A couple of months down the line there's another one, and that just goes back to the government hasn't put in place proper measures to ensure that the people who are seeking to buy land in the republic are well protected. And now that means you have to protect yourself. You have to go out of your way to make sure that what you're buying is legit.
Yes.
Whoever you're giving your money owns whatever they're trying to sell to you. So basically, it falls back on the person who is buying the land to go an extra mile and just do their due diligence and just protect themselves. If they need to involve a professional, they need to do that, because again, you have to save yourself when it comes to that.
So what you're saying is that it's unfortunate that because there are no regulations, it means that now I have to take personal responsibility.
Absolutely.
So that's why we're having this conversation.
Yes.
Now, when going back to my friend's story, that she bought a piece of land, she bought 750,000 shillings. Of course, when she shared this story, the first thing I told her is, did you do your due diligence? So it happens that every time there are these scams, the word due diligence pops up, because you're told that you should have done your due diligence. Did you follow due diligence? But honestly, what is the meaning of due diligence? What is this thing that we are supposed to do so that we avoid losing our money?
What I would say is, when you walk into a supermarket today to buy a loaf of bread,
yes,
a lot of time you'll see before you put that loaf of bread into your shopping basket, you'll check for expiry date.
Yes. Yeah.
So that is your due diligence on that piece of bread.
Yes.
Now, in the same breath, when it comes to land, there are a number of things you should do. Of course, these go beyond checking the expiry date.
Of course, yeah.
But what will be the equivalent of that when you're buying land will be, for example, search this piece of land. So, Agatha, if you're coming to me and telling me, I'm selling you that piece of property.
Yeah.
The first thing I'll need to know is, one, Agatha, do you know this? Do you own this piece of property?
Yes.
And you saying yes shouldn't be good enough for me.
Yes.
Yeah. Because, of course, people are dishonest. There are a lot of trust issues. So for me, what I need to do is I'll ask you, this piece of land you're selling me, can you give me a copy of the title for this piece of land?
Yes.
So if you're not giving me that copy of the title, it should be the first red flag in my head. Why is this person trying to sell me this piece of land, but they cannot even give me a copy of the title for me to do my due diligence?
Yes.
Now, assuming you're a legitimate seller and you give me this copy of the title, first of all, there's information I can get from this copy of the title that will contribute to my due diligence.
Yes.
First of all, I can see on the title who is registered as the owner, so I can see Agatha Wanjiru is registered as the owner of this piece of land.
Yeah.
Now, that is one piece of information.
Yes.
But first of all, it's not enough, because one, you might have owned this title last month, but over the period of 1 month, you have sold it to somebody else. So this is a copy of something that does not exist.
So that step is not enough.
It's not enough.
Yes.
It's not enough that you've given me a copy of the title
that
has your name.
Yes.
Because it could be this is just a piece of paper because this land was transferred. So what I need to do, I need to go to the relevant registry where this land is registered. So in Kenya, land is registered in regions. So, for
Okay.
example, if land is in Nairobi, you'll go to the Nairobi Land Registry to do a search or do registration. If the land is registered in, say, Kiambu, you'll go to the Kiambu Registry and all that. There are certain pieces of property that are outside Nairobi, but they are managed within the Nairobi Registry. But that's sort of an exemption to the rule.
Okay.
So most properties are registered within where they are.
Okay.
So maybe if you are in Kiambu, for example, and this property is in Kiambu, I'll go to the Kiambu registry with the copy of the title. I can decide to go in person or to use a professional. Most times it's advisable you use a professional because even when they get whatever document they're going to look for at the registry, they're in a position to interpret the entries and understand what they mean.
Question. So that means if I am trying to sell the piece of land here, I'm trying to sell you the piece of land. That means it's okay for me to give you my title to go and to use it to the land registry. I can give you the original, or is it a copy?
No, you cannot give out your original because if you give me your original, what do you know I'll do with it? It's unsafe. So for you give me a copy because with a copy there's nothing I can do with a copy. I can only do due diligence. I cannot transfer. Okay.
All right.
So you do not give out your original title before you have the whole paperwork planned out. So what you give out is the copy of the title.
Okay. It's very important for the well-tried to know that. So don't go out giving your original documents. Okay?
All right. So once you go to the land registry and ask for a search, you'll get a document called a certificate of official search.
Okay.
And it will be dated as at when that document is issued. So if, for example, when is today?
Today is the 4th.
Yes. So if today is the 4th of March 2023, so the title will be telling me as at today, Agatha Wanjira is the registered owner of this piece of land.
Okay.
Now, other than that, it will show me details like what is the acreage in terms of what is the size. It will show me what is the property number. It will show me now. Other than that, there's some very important information that the search will give me that I may not necessarily get from the copy of title it gave me.
Question. Is any Kenyan citizen allowed to go to the land registry and do the search for themselves?
Now, that is something you can do for yourself. But sometimes, because of the bureaucracy, you know our government agencies.
Yes.
So you might go there, you don't know where to start.
Like I have never gone to a land registry.
You don't have any contact, and even when you get that piece of documents. Now, the reason why I would advise people to involve professionals other than to do it by themselves, unless you're somebody who deals with land on a regular basis and you know what the entries in a search could mean, just get a professional to do it for you. Because now when you get this search document, this certificate of official search, it will show you, for example, if this Agatha has taken a loan with, say, KCB Bank and given them this title as a security. It will have an entry. The certificate of official search will have an entry called a charge. So it will say this title is a charge in favor of, say, KCB Bank Kenya Limited for 5 million. You see, this is information that you could not have gotten from the copy of title. But when I go to do a search, now I'm able to ascertain, Agatha, you are selling me this piece of land and you've already given it to a bank for as a security. How are you going to transfer it to me?
So what you're saying, if I involve a conveyancing lawyer or a real estate lawyer like yourself, there is information that you'd be able to get by doing a search that if I did it on a personal level, wouldn't be able to get. Is that what you're saying?
Not necessarily get. You may get the information in terms of, so the registry will give you that document called a certificate of official search. So you'll see there's an entry called charge in favor of KCB Bank. But as a layman, you may not understand what does the charge even mean. You may not know what it understands.
In fact, majority of us do not know.
Exactly.
That's the truth.
For me, as a professional, I'll be able to look at it and at a glance I'll know this charge means you cannot transfer to me this land because it's already registered as a security.
Okay.
Now, other than a charge, there's some other information that I may come across in the certificate of official search. For example, if there's any kind of dispute over this piece of land, you might find an entry called a caveat or a caution. So basically, this is somebody saying, I have an interest in this piece of land, and so before the registry or the courts, in that case, can determine who actually is entitled to this land, they'll make an entry called a caution. Or if it's the registrar, they'll put an entry called a restriction. But basically what it means that this land cannot be transferred and there cannot be any transaction on this land until this entry has been removed.
Okay.
So as the professional who is doing the due diligence for you, I'm able to tell my clients, actually, well and good, this land belongs to this person, but as we speak, they cannot transfer it to you. So whatever money you are planning to transfer, just hold on to it.
And of course, that is very awesome, because if I'm the one who's given you the job to do for me that job search, then in that part I can hold back, or I can step back and avoid losing money people do. In that, basically what you're teaching us, that due diligence will prevent you from, one, wasting time with all the process, losing money, involving too many people. In every step, you'll be able to step back before you take a year in the process. Okay, now you've done a land search.
Okay. Yeah. Now, something else I wanted to say. So the land search is part of the due diligence you should do.
Yes.
So other than doing that land search first, so the two most important things why you should do the land search is to confirm, one, this person who is selling this land to me, are they the owners? Because there are a lot of people, and I can tell you for a fact there are a lot of people out here, including land selling companies, which are selling land that does not yet belong to them. And that has created a lot of problems. In fact, if you can trace back the scandals that have been there in the past, they all relate back. They all go back to these people who are selling this land before they even bought it.
Let's talk about that, because it's a common problem, where you say there are people who are selling land that does not yet belong to them.
Oh, yes.
Especially land selling companies. Tell us how that happens.
Now, that happens in the sense that, say I've decided to, nimeona hii biashara ya shamba ndio inabamba. So what I'll do as a land selling company, I'll just go to the company's registry, I incorporate a company, I call it ABC Limited.
Yes.
All right? Yeah. So when I incorporate a company, I'll go ahead and identify a good piece of land,
Yes.
I'll probably go to the less developed areas.
Yes.
So I'll find a nice piece of land, I'll look for the owner, I'll sit them down and I'll tell them, nataka kununua hii shamba yako, but I do not have the money.
Yes.
So I can market this property, get people to buy this property, and then I pay to you. So first of all, they'll present a very good, a deal that looks very good to the person who owns the land. Okay?
Yes.
And a lot of them do that. Yeah. And some of them work out successfully. But some of them do not work out
successfully. And many of them don't work out successfully.
Exactly. Yeah. So they'll agree with that person to sell them this piece of land, but because they don't have the money, what they'll do is they'll agree, you go market this piece of land, get the money, come, pay me, and then I transfer the title to you.
Yes.
So then I'll come, so me as ABC Limited, now I'll go to, whether I choose to go on TV or I choose to go on radio, or I get an influencer,
Yeah.
So I tell them, I'm selling this piece of land, 50 by 100, 500,000 or whatever amount of money. And because people do not know, and that's, you see now in a TV advert, it's a 2-second thing.
Yes.
People do not know that you do not own
the
this
land.
Piece of land.
Yes.
And the TV also doesn't know, and they don't care, because that's business for them.
And that's exactly what I was about to say, that for the TV or the newspaper or the radio and the influencer, them they're in the business of advertising.
Exactly.
They're not in the business of regulation.
Exactly.
Therefore, when an influencer tells you that, hey, this piece of land in X location, this is now the good one, this is where you should be building, because that is usually the script, that this is where you should be building, this is where people are moving. They're not in the business of regulation, they're in the business of being paid fees for advertisement. Very important for people to understand that. Okay.
So then I'll go, I'll advertise, and people who do not know that this land belongs to me, they'll come to my office, they'll make deposits, they'll pay 50%.
Yes.
Others, I'll give them a cash offer or whatever they call it.
Oh, yes.
They pay the amount. But the problem now comes in, if anything happens between the time that this person transfers this land to me, if anything happens, say, now in the recent, I won't mention the company of course, but in a recent scandal that was in the papers, what happened was that it was such a scenario where now I am buying from you, but I don't have the money, so let me go market, I get the money, I can pay you, you transfer to me, then I transfer to the people who paid. Now in that scenario, what happened was the owner of this land died.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah. So the owner of this land died, and this company had already received millions from hundreds of Kenyans. Yes. So now, because he's died, there's a whole process that has to be done before this land can be transferred by now the people who've been left behind. Yes. Now, you may have heard of the process called succession. Yes. And sometimes it takes years. Okay. Sometimes people cannot agree.
Yes, that's true.
So now with the whole mess that was happening between now the land buying company and now the family that was left behind,
Yes.
Where does that leave everybody who had paid me the money? And of course, this money is not sitting pretty in my account. I have put it there,
Anywhere.
there. Where does that leave you as a buyer?
You're just stranded. You don't know where to go.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've lost money.
Important to get this search.
Yes.
So now, so assuming you've gotten a search, you've confirmed that this person, whether it's an individual or whether it's a company that is selling this land to you, so you've confirmed that they already own it. You've confirmed the size. Now, another thing very important before I forget. Now, the other thing when you're buying land, it's very important to ascertain, because you can have say this whole table is a piece of land.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I, as a land selling company, or even as an individual, intend to subdivide this land into, say, 50 pieces.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
But I'm yet to do the paperwork for that.
Yes.
So if you're buying land from me, it's very important that you don't just see the title for this whole piece of land, because then that's some other title that can never benefit you. What will benefit you is the title for this subdivided portion that I'm selling to you.
Yes.
So when you're buying land to me, always confirm that the land you're buying, the specific piece of land you're buying, there's already a title for it.
Yes. Like confirm there's already a mother title. Or the one that the piece
confirm,
that I'm interested in.
No.
Yeah.
Confirm that you're not being sold, because sometimes you'll see adverts saying ready title.
Okay.
What they don't tell you is ready title, mother title. Not the title for the small pieces of land I'm selling to you.
Okay.
So you'll give me the money, I'll start the process of subdivision, and because it takes a long time, there's so many things that are bound to happen wrong.
Yes.
And this is the thing. Yes. Companies always, they fall out.
Yes.
So maybe we are two directors, we are doing this business, we fall out.
Yes.
And then now we cannot finish the subdivision process, and then where does that leave you?
Yeah. In a lot of trouble. Now I see.
Yes.
That duration, that period of time, so many things can happen within that period of time. And therefore, our main goal is to protect ourselves from that period of time.
Yes.
Okay.
So make sure that the search you're getting is not for the mother title, but for the specific piece of land you're buying.
Because that is your interest. Your interest is not there.
Yes. The mother title will never help you.
Yes.
You know?
It has nothing to do with
Yes. So then now you've done a search, you've confirmed that this person owns this land, you've confirmed that if there's a subdivision, it has been completed and there's a ready title for the piece that you're buying.
Yes.
From there, you've confirmed that this person has not taken a loan using this property as security. There's no dispute, there's no caution, there's no restriction, there's nothing that prevents them from transferring this land to you.
Yes.
Now, that's the first thing. Now, once you're satisfied with that, now go to the person who is selling to you.
Okay.
Can you establish if they are who they are purporting to be?
Oh, wow.
Because a lot of people out here are selling land using fake IDs.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Oh yes. So the other thing is to confirm that this person who is selling to you, first of all, try as much as possible, meet them in person. Because a lot of times people involve brokers. Yes. But you do not want to give your money to a broker.
So what you're saying, there's a difference between a broker and the owner of the land.
Yes. A broker is like, I'm selling this piece of land, I involve somebody to find me a buyer.
Yes.
So now you want to make sure you as the buyer, you eventually meet the seller in person. Like, can I see you?
Yes.
Okay, you're the one selling me this land. Can I see you in person?
Yes.
Can you give me a copy of your ID?
Yes.
All right?
Yeah.
Now, if you're a company, you won't have an ID.
Yes.
But at least there are directors behind this company. But
that company is owned by people.
Oh yes. It's owned by people.
Yes.
So what you do, if it's an individual, you can do a search.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can do a search of the ID to ascertain.
Oh yes.
That is something I have never had. Like I didn't know this. Okay.
So we have a National Registration Bureau, and this is a place you can go with a copy of the ID. So now you're trying to establish if this person actually exists, even. You know, if this ID does it belong to a person registered in this republic?
Well, it's possible for me to give you a copy of an ID of somebody who died.
Oh yes.
Drama.
And even people sometimes what is it called? Thika Road. Not Thika Road, sorry. River Road.
Yes.
Many things happen. People.
You can get any
interfere with IDs, such that you can use. So basically fake IDs. Let me just say fake IDs.
Yes.
But for you to confirm that you're not dealing with a fake ID,
Yeah.
you go to the National Registration Bureau, you ask them to confirm if this ID, if this person is real. You pay a very minimal fee, it's 350 shillings,
Yes.
and they're able to confirm to you that actually this ID is real.
Yes.
Now, sometimes people lose IDs and replace them, and other times people replace IDs and they have not left them, so they'll have 2 IDs.
And that's a problem.
Yes, that's a problem. You need to confirm that the ID you are giving me to, you have given me today, is legitimate as at today.
That's new information to me also. Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
Yes, so a quick ID search can confirm that.
Yes.
If it's a company, you do something called a company search.
Yes.
Right now, it's on if a company has updated its records,
Yes.
that information is on eCitizen. You go to eCitizen, you generate a document called a CR12. That's now an official search for a company. So it will tell you this company is registered, when it was registered, who the directors are. Also, so that you can confirm that the person who is talking to you is actually a director. They are authorized to deal on behalf of this company.
Because I can randomly come and tell you that I am a director at ABC company, right? And I mean, this is something that happens every day.
All the time,
so
all the time.
That's what you do. But then also, as you're telling us to go to these registries to confirm whether the ID is original or true, or even to confirm whether the directors are there, should I personally go to this bureau, or should I involve a professional? And what?
Now, you can choose. If you're saving money or whatever, you can choose to do it in person.
Yes.
But it will be much more convenient for you to get a professional to do it for you. Because
why?
If today I tell you to go to the National Registration Bureau, do you know even where they are?
No.
Do you know how to make this application? Do you know where to
call? Yeah.
So it's just better to involve a professional so that they can do the whole process. So they'll do the search at the registry. They'll do the search at the National Registration Bureau. If it's a company, they'll do that. So if a company has not updated its records, you need to go physically to the BRS to get a manual search.
Okay.
So it's much easier if you involve a professional, because this is what they do on a daily basis. They have established networks and contacts in this registry. It's easier for them to get these documents within a reasonable time. Because again, we know how our government offices work, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
now we were at you've gotten the IDs, you've gone and done you've assured yourself that these people are real.
Yes.
If they are not real, of course, you take a step back. Do not continue with this.
Yeah.
Then after that.
So now you've done the search on the land, you've done the search on the person selling, and you're satisfied they own the land. There's nothing that prevents them from selling or transferring, and they have given me their legitimate identification documents.
Yes. So
now there's some extra mile you can go to, especially for very high value transactions.
Yes.
For example, there's some areas in this country where land is so damn expensive, especially even where we are seated right now.
Yes.
This piece of land, like the piece of land that has housed this building, could be worth hundreds of millions of shillings.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
So when you're buying such a high value piece of land, there's some extra mile you need to go to just to protect your money,
Yes.
So
the bigger the money, the more the protection.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Oh yes. Yeah. So you can go to an extra mile. So for me, what I advise people, get a document called a green card. Okay. So it's called, so you'll be asking the registry to provide you with a certified copy of the green card for the property that you're buying. Okay. So basically this is a document that will give you the details in terms of, it actually even gives you the history. Okay. So from when this parcel started existing, this is the person who owned it, then they transferred to this and this person, then this person's wife released a caution. Yes. They were having matrimonial issues, then the caution was removed, then they took a loan with this and this bank, then now they sold to this and this. It gives you a history. Okay. But the most important thing with that document is that it authenticates what information was in the search. Aha. Okay. Yes, I get it. So I would say it's 100% proof of the information you got in the search, because again, corruption happens in this country. So you can get a search that is saying, so it's possible to get a search when there's collusion between maybe the person who is selling the land and the people at the registry. Sometimes it's a rare occasion, but every now and then you might get a search that doesn't have the most correct information. So when you get this certified copy of the green card, it authenticates, because now it's a document that there's a higher level of there's a higher level of, it's more authentic.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
It's signed by a different person. The person who signs the search is not the person who signs the green card.
Yes.
And it's a very senior person that signs the green card.
In the land registry.
Yes. And these documents are kept under lock and key at the registry. So once you get the green card, you can be 100% sure that the information here, if it tallies with the information in the certificate of official search, no, I can go up. I can move forward.
You can rest easy.
Oh, yes. But sometimes these documents comes at a cost.
Or getting the green card is not like...
So now the cost differs from one registry to another.
Okay. From one registry to another, as in Nairobi registry, Kiambu registry.
Yes. So there are registries that will ask you for a bit more money.
Can you give an estimate? Can you give an estimate of an experience you've had, like how much?
For example, there's one I got recently from the Kiambu registry.
Yes.
It costs 2,500.
Okay.
Yes.
For a piece of land that was worth about how much?
So for them, they don't. It's the price is not. It's not dependent on the value of the land.
Okay.
It's just their internal mechanisms.
Okay.
That's what they charge
Okay.
to give you a certified copy of the green card.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, in a high value transaction, that amount you're willing to pay.
Yes.
Just to to
if
make
I'm
sure
buying a piece of land that costs 50 million
Yes.
shillings, 2,500 shillings is money I should be willing to part with.
Oh, yes.
To sleep easy, to know that I don't lose my 50 million.
Oh yes.
Okay.
So the other thing you can do is to engage a surveyor. And the reason why it will be important to engage a surveyor first, they need to establish that this they need to point out the actual piece of land on the ground. Because sometimes there's tendency by land sellers to show you the land that looks more prime and make it look like it's the one you're selling.
Yeah.
Only for you to start building, and you're bringing the surveyor to point you to the piece of land, and they show you another place.
You know, you really shocked me when you told me that story. Like, what you're telling us is that it's very possible, if this is a piece of land, right? You're telling us that it's very possible for a land seller to show me that, Agatha, this is the piece of land that I'm selling to you, only for it to be that he's selling this one.
Oh, yes.
So that's why you involve a land surveyor to ascertain that, apana, this is not the piece of land that you're being sold to.
The land surveyor is able to access information at the Survey of Kenya that will point you to the exact location of that piece of land. So now you can be sure, even if you're trying to build or to develop that area, again, it also minimizes the risk of building on the adjacent piece of land.
You shared that you've seen people build on the wrong piece of land.
Oh yes, I actually even have a transaction that is ongoing even right now where somebody built on the adjacent piece of land. No, they have finished building, they have even taken a security against this title, and now the owner of the adjacent, you know the way you can buy land and then you just let it sit.
Yes.
And then after like 10 years you come to build and it turns out your neighbor built on your piece of property. Why? They didn't get a surveyor to actually point them. Your property is this one and not this one. So now we had to do a whole long process of talking to the bank so that the bank can allow us to discharge this property. They swap, because now demolishing the building would have been more expensive.
Very expensive,
right?
Yes, yeah.
So this person was kind enough to say, fine, we can swap. So that's now I get your land, you keep mine.
Yes.
But not everybody will be as gracious.
Not everybody is going to be as kind, that's
so
true.
if you ever have to demolish a building just because you didn't get a surveyor to show you exactly where my land is, exactly where a piece of property is, So that's one of the reasons why you should engage a surveyor first, to confirm the actual land on the ground, to the size. Sometimes maybe not maliciously, but sometimes the titles contain the wrong size.
Yes.
So you'll see a title saying that this property is bigger than it actually is on the ground. Probably a clerical error, but it happens.
Yes.
So you need a surveyor to ascertain to you that actually what is the actual size on the ground, so that if it happens to be smaller, then you can it helps you even when you're negotiating with the seller, so that you can get the actual value for the actual piece of land you're getting. So the other thing, they'll be able to point out the beacons, and so now those are the three things. You're able to know the exact piece of land, where it is,
location,
2, the size, 3, the beacons. The surveyor is able to point out where the beacons are, and most importantly, the surveyor is able to obtain a document called a registry index map. And now this is a document that helps them ascertain, has this land been allocated for public purpose for any reason? Is this land on a road reserve? Is this land near what we call riparian land?
Okay.
So they're able to point to you, because literally I lived at a place where a road got constructed, and it's a big road.
Mm-hmm.
And the number of people who lost their properties when that road was constructed, when they bought the pieces of land, they didn't know it was a road reserve.
Okay.
Right?
But then that is one of the questions that the Wealth Tribe asked me to ask you, is that, because the word riparian land is a very, every Kenyan, as long as you're of age, you've had those scandals, right?
Yes,
so that's one of the things they wanted me to know. How to ask you, like, how do I know that this piece of land is not riparian, it's not a road reserve, it's not owned by the government, it's not even reserved for county development, right? There are pieces of land that are for hospitals, and so such things. So I'm glad you measured. What is the name of that document again?
It's a registry index map,
Okay.
but then you need to get a professional to interpret it for you,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
So they're able to tell you, actually, this is where, you see now, the government will do planning and decide, we will build a road on this place, at this place, and Itapita Hill.
Yes.
All right?
Yeah.
But it can take a long time before they actually start that project.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
It can take even 10 years.
Yeah. Even
but the
more.
government knows
Yeah.
that this is a road reserve.
Yes.
You who is buying, probably the person who is selling to you knows if property in Akoze is on a road reserve. But you don't know.
Yes.
All right?
Yeah.
So that's why it's very important. So I'm telling you, I lived at a place where a bypass was constructed and people lost land. People lost their homes.
And in that case, specific case, is the government liable?
Now, I would say, no, it depends on the circumstances.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you see now, there are places where they are not titled. There are places in this country where they are not titled. So
Yes,
you're not able to ascertain.
Yes.
Which is why we always recommend, as much as possible, get a property that has a title. Because you are able to trace back. You are able to go and get that registry index map, and it will show you if this place if it's a government land, even if it's public land, if it's land that has been set aside to construct a road, if it's land that has been set aside for a game park or whatever it is. Because if you don't do that, you could go ahead and do your construction, build your retirement home or whatever. Then if in 5 years or 7 years or 10 years or whatever time the government comes to do whatever development they need to do.
Basically, what we're trying to do is we're trying to save people time and heartache. Because I can imagine what those people felt.
So to say, involve a surveyor
for those reasons.
So you'll be able to know this land, where exactly it is, what's the size, where the beacons are, and that it is not. It's land that is available for private ownership.
Okay.
Right?
And beacons are those land markings that show that my land starts here, here, and ends here. That's in case somebody has never heard of the word beacons before. Okay, so we are done with involving a surveyor. What is the next step here?
So for me, I would say that is pretty much that would be a good place to start from. So when you've satisfied yourself of all the things we've spoken about, you can now go to in fact, by the time you are doing all this, please, I hope you have not paid a shilling. I hope you have not paid a shilling, because now this is your due diligence. This is you satisfying yourself of what you're buying. Now, when you're satisfied of all this, now sit down with the seller. Mwambie unaniuzia pesa ngapi?
So what you're saying is that all these processes that you've been explaining, it should not be nililipa deposit and now I'm doing due diligence. It is due diligence first and then you pay a deposit.
Oh yes, because assuming you had paid that deposit, so now you've found the survey report has come, this property is on a road reserve. The person used the money, so now you want to go to court and drag each other through court for 3 years to get your deposit back.
Yeah, no, you want to avoid that heartache.
All right?
Yes,
You don't want to go through that. So it's very important that when you're doing your due diligence, you have not paid.
Yes.
When now you're satisfied of everything and now you're sure this shamba is legit, the seller is legit, now you're ready to go. Now sit down, have a discussion. What's the purchase price? Tunalipa aje. All right? And even before you have that discussion, have your lawyer. It's very important, and I keep saying, have a lawyer.
Yes.
Have a professional.
Monica, the other role you have in this conversation is convincing us Kenyans why it's important to have a lawyer, because honestly, the kawaida Kenyan, if I can use that word, we think that a lawyer is for rich people. You know, we think that a lawyer is for Chris Kirubi and the likes. I, as a kawaida Kenyan, Agatha as a kawaida Kenyan, why would I involve a lawyer? Those people are very expensive. Why do I need to involve you and you know, there are people who say that when a lawyer coughs, 100,000 is gone. So
I won't accept or deny, but you know, just maybe by the end of this discussion, I mean, you can decide whether you'll want a
lawyer or not.
You know, yeah. So basically, when you have finished your due diligence, now you're discussing the purchase price and how that will be paid. Let that be captured in paperwork. Even before you pay, again, you have not paid.